Evening all. So yeah, not done a lot of Zwift racing recently. I've been racing outside, and hopefully I'll put a video together about that, but it's just finding the time at the minute, to be honest. So yeah, first prime time race for a while. The last time I looked, which was about an hour ago, I think there was 40 odd riders signed up for this, 44. Well, there's 44 in the pen already, so yeah. Likewise, I might have been outside, but it's been showers, thunderstorms. We've just had a bit of thunder here, so indoors I am. Yeah, like I said, we'll see how this one goes. R.G.V. Fairly flat route, which is good for old Aero, but when I looked on Zwift Power, there was some quite big power numbers in here. Like I said, it's prime time, so it's fairly flat until you get to the aqueduct, which is at about, I think about 12, let's say 12-13k. Hit the aqueduct, so the plan would be to try and hang in until the aqueduct and try and be at the front or near the front going up, so I can hopefully stick with the bunch on the way down. And then after that it's the rollers towards the end, which can be tricky. You can get spat out of draft really easy. So yeah, at the moment Source seems to be playing, so I'll leave Source on for the time being, unless I'll have to turn it off. Yeah, like I said, we'll see how this goes. Yeah, okay. What's happening? So, yeah, Zwift bikes had to go for the Canyon Air Road. I'm sticking with the S-works, the tarmac. Not sure if that's the best idea or not, but I'm hoping to draft and just keep drafting. So, Aero might not. Oh, don't know. Let's just see how it goes. Right, let's get going. Fun on, music up. Hey, Si, how you going, mate? Yeah. Put some numbers down here already, haven't I? $64. Good numbers tonight. Yeah, mate, yeah, you're right. Big numbers, mate, yeah. Yeah, when I looked on Zwift Power, some big numbers as well in here. So, my plan is just to hang on for grim death, I think. might have to get there. Computer's struggling. You know this is going to go with the aqueduct, isn't it? It's got to. Or maybe the sprint just before it. Someone's having a dig already, huh? Yeah, it's thunderstorms just started here. Yeah, no, you're right, mate. It's knocking on a bit, mate. The old computer. Although it's not the only thing that's knocking on a bit, mate. think it's too flat for the brake to go, I think, at this point. Not to say it's impossible, but that has to be pretty strong, I think. Yeah, you're right, mate. Yeah, it'd be really hard to get away, mate, wouldn't it? Which is why, I reckon it'll be the aqueduct. But there's still 50 odd riders here, I think, in a minute. Strong lad on the front here. I think this is twice he tried going. Yeah, he's trying to pull people up to him, isn't he? Quite possibly, wrong cap maybe. I think potentially everyone's probably thinking the same time. See what happens in this sprint, shall we? Praying for a feather. Oh, there is no feather. That'll teach me to look at it. Hold me. No, you're right, yeah, if they can tight, mate. Yeah. Oh man, that is. Oh. Yeah, that wasn't pleasant. Cheers, Kieran, mate. Yeah. Oh, that is. What we're looking at here now. About 30, you reckon? Cheers, sorry to that, mate. Yeah, that was painful. Right. The plan is now. Sit in, recover to the rolls. If I can. Here comes that strong one again, look. Nick. Very strong. lighter rider's definitely pushing the front. Someone's pushing the front. Not sure about that, mate. Yeah, like I said, I think I saw some big numbers in here, mate.
Yeah, that'll be it.
Cheers, Charlie. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't think I had a lot left there, mate, towards the end, to be honest. Happy with me efficiency though. How's that Nick lad finish? Where's he at? Oh, well in, Chris. Nice one, mate. So, What do you reckon? You reckon he's 2.5? I reckon he slowed down there, didn't he? What do you think? What's that? That's new. What's that mean? Main event? I didn't want to do that. Okay. Let's have a look at the damage. See what happened. Yeah, you're right, mate. He might just be a bit low, mightn't he? Long way off the best. Still on a way off in the sprint there. To be fair though, I think I've put on a few kilos as well, I think. Oh. And last time I did this course, I think I must have been about 82 kilos, I'm 86, 87 I think at the minute. So I'll take it. It's see if I can get Zwift power playing. Coming up or not? Nothing up on Zwift power yet. Probably take a while, won't it? But no, cheers, Si. Thanks for dropping in, mate. Very much appreciated. Oh, a little late on my bum. What's up? That's new, isn't it? Yeah, I've not seen that before. That'll do. Yeah, that'll do. That for the screenshot of it. What do you reckon? That'll go. Oh, right. And cheers, Kieran. Thanks very much for the encouragement, mate. Yeah, like I said, that's yeah, we've not done a lot of Zwift racing lately. I've been riding outside mostly. So, although like I said, we just had quite a big downpour here. Although it does look like it might have blown over now, thankfully. Right, cheers, Si. Thanks, Kieran, for dropping in. As always, very much appreciated. I'm going to jump off, cool down, try and stop sweating, and think about the next one, I suppose. But cheers, guys. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Everyone else, look after yourselves. Take care. Till the next one. Cheers, guys.